Okay, hello everyone. I would like to apologize for my latest video. I made some wrong assumptions regarding the nature of this image. So I would like to take this opportunity to go a little bit into more details regarding the secrets which are hidden in the image. And I would like to correct first of all my statement when I stated that this was probably the Erdtree. The mistake was born due to the fact that I didn't zoom into the tree. I was a little bit focused on our golden boy, Mikala, over here. But I think I came up with some conclusions regarding like the nature and the mysteries which are hidden within this image. And I think we have a lot to talk about. As stated also in the video before, this video is not going to be scripted, it's just me talking, so I would like you to bear with me. So anyways, let's start. I would like to, first of all, to go over Mikala over here. I read some posts and I saw some things online where some people were stating that this is Marika, not Mikala. I would like to clarify and say that I think it's Mikala due to the fact, as you can see in his hairstyle, the motif, it resembles a lot like the motif of the helmets of the Erdtree Knights. And plus, as stated in the video before, the image where Mikala is abducted by Mog, they're identical. Body, figure, and like the hairstyle and everything else. So I still think that this is Mikala. But the fact is that Mikala is not even that like the most important subject within this image, which drives me crazy actually. And there are a lot of details which are trying to tell us a story. And the fact is that I know that it might sound really crazy, okay, but once I started to zoom into the image of the tree over there, of actually two trees, okay, it hit me, and there are more than one demigod in this picture. Like Mikala is over here, but I do think, for how crazy it sounds, that this actually might be Godwyn, in a way. Okay, let me explain. The title of the upcoming DLC is called The Shadow of the Erdtree, okay? And we know that under the capital, okay, it was the place where Godwyn, once it was killed by the Black Knife assassins, was buried. It was buried directly beneath the capital, at the roots of the Erdtree. So that would imply that like it could actually like consider like the shadow, like the roots at the base of the tree. Okay. Second thing that I started to notice is like these little black dots over here. I don't know if they're really clear within the image, but like it looks a lot like the miasma surrounding Godwyn when we reach Fia. There seems to be a lot of like little tiny insects flying around, okay? And third of all, the fact is like, okay, we know, and it's really apparent in game, that like the Erdtree was infected due to Godwyn being buried under there by death, okay? We can see it all over in game, like some churches, like where we fight the mariners. We can see like little eyes popping from the roots. One of the biggest evidence is like the giant root beneath Stormvale Castle, where we can see Godwyn's face over there. And in a way, it would make sense, okay, for the tree, for the roots to actually start attacking the Erdtree. And It's not really like from the way that I try to like from the way that I assume that it's not really attacking. I think it's more like converging, like turning, like going back to the tree in a way. Okay, because we have to remember that like Godwyn carries like the rune of death within him. Okay, and the Elden Ring residing within the Erdtree would make sense for a rune, or for part of the rune of death, being so close, like to the Elden Ring, try to merge within the Elden Ring once more. Okay, and in a way, I really start to believe this is actually like the tree, the one which bleeds gold. I think this might actually be the Erdtree. And I know it might sound weird and like, why it's not golden? I think the image is taking, like, I think this moment here, it's being in the future. And here's why. We know that like in game, once we defeat Morgoth and we are tasked with burning the Erdtree so we can access within the Erdtree, we actually burned the Erdtree. I wouldn't assume to be a stretch if the Erdtree actually became charred black, okay? There is also another thing which we have to remember. In game, when we go meet Fia, we find her standing in front of Godwyn's body, okay? There is a boss fight which takes place after we defeated the guards of Fia with 46. And we know from the objects in game, which talks about 46, especially the incantations, that 46 was in a way depriving Godwyn, the Prince of Death, of his full potential, because we know for a fact the 46 was eating the death within Godwyn. So it stands to assume that once we defeat 46, Godwyn is able to, like, in a way, because we know that he's not conscious, that all of this is more like a disease. Because, like, we know from lore and, like, from the story itself that, like, Godwyn, like, it's only a body with parts of the rune of death within him. And we know that, like, the soul is not residing with the Godwyn anymore, so it's more like of a natural process, okay? But if we remove 46 from the equation and remove the primary reason for death not being able to spread all over the kingdom due to the fact that 46 was eating it at its source, it's not really unthinkable to think that, like, the roots from within, from beneath the capital, could actually take hold of the Erdtree. I think it's the Erdtree because it's bleeding gold. I don't think of any other tree capable, and, like, if we start to, like, look at the top of the tree, it matches exactly the shape of the tree, of the Erdtree. And the reason also is why I think that all of this is taking actually place in the future, okay? It's for two main reasons. First of all, the Erdtree being completely burnt. The second of all, like, the roots of death, because we can see the miasma all over here, taking hold of the tree. But it would actually also align itself with the main story, with the main events of the game. There's no capital, and we know from a fact, especially after we defeat Malekith, that the capital was buried in ashes. So it's not really unthinkable, like, to not see any building around the Erdtree. And there's also something else that makes me think that this might be the future. Is we can see Miquella being surrounded by spirits. We know that the spirits, we know that, like, due to the Erdtree burial, that, like, when people die, they usually bury them at the roots of the Erdtree, where after, like, the person is absorbed. If the Erdtree is completely burnt, right? After what we do in game, it's not unfeasible to think that the spirits, they can't go back. They have no way to access. The tree is in a way dying or merging it within itself again. It's fascinating in a way because like this might be like the closest thing that we have to the crucible, because like we always have to remember like the crucible is the original Erdtree, when the Erdtree still had the Elden Ring within it, which had the Rune of Death. So after Marika removed the Rune of Death, the crucible evolved and became the Erdtree that we all know today. So this is pretty much it for regarding the part of the tree, okay? I'm pretty sure this is death. This looks like really, like, it's really uncanny that they remind me so much of the roots surrounding, like the infected roots surrounding Godwyn. And if we go also here in the title, we can see the font. Like for example, here we can see the O, which like seems like to have a little bit of roots coming out of it, you know? And it would completely align itself, like this theory would completely align itself with the title of the DLC. As stated, I'm sorry for not mentioning this in my latest video. I was distracted by him, to be honest. Like, as soon as I saw him, oh, Mikola, it's finally you, the hilt of Malenia. This is pretty much it. I would like also to speculate a little bit regarding the possible theories for the entrance of the DLC, okay? The first one, it's kind of obvious, is probably Mikola's body inside the cocoon where we fight Mog. Because all of this could also be taking place in a dream, okay? Where, for example, Mikola foresaw the future, okay? This is like the first main theory, okay? The second theory, it might be that we actually are granted access to the DLC from the arena where we fight Malenia. Because we also have to remember something which, like, it's something that I started thinking recently, okay? But Malenia, I think that Malenia might have been searching for Mikola within his dream. And let me explain why. When we first meet Malenia, she tells us, I've been dreaming for so long, corpse after corpse and so on. We also have to consider something else. When she was sleeping, she was touching the tree, which had the cocoon of Mikola within it, okay? When we go to Fia, and she's within Godwyn's dream, she's also touching Godwyn. So maybe for like some characters in game, it is really plausible for them to be able to interact with the dreams of other beings by touching them. Or this might also like take place after we defeat Malikat, because like if we consider like the Erdtree completely burnt down, the spirits not being able to return to the Erdtree, we can see death growing out of the ground to try to merge with the tree once more. Because like it seems like the roots are stabbing the tree, maybe trying to get access to the tree itself, you know? How can I put it? It would leave like Mikola in a... It would confuse me a little bit if this wasn't a dream, because how is Mikola here if this it's not a dream? Because we know that like Mikola's body is within the cocoon inside of Mog's arena. But maybe the body was completely empty in a way, like Mikola's consciousness was able to withdraw itself from his body and go into the dream. Because it will also explain why Mikola's body actually started growing. If the spirit of Mikola is not within the body, It might actually let like the body itself being alive, but without its soul, without its great rune, without the spirit, start aging like any other body. I don't know. I'm really sorry if this like sounds a little bit all confusing. I thought about scripting it, but then I thought to myself that I wanted to correct myself as soon as possible. And there's still gonna be a lot of time before DLC comes out, so we're gonna have time to talk about it. I'll make sure, I promise, to release a video where I talk about everything in details regarding the spirits, Mikela, our little torrent over here, and death and the Erdtree. Something else that like it reminds me, which it just came to mind right now, is if this is in the future, this might be the moment when we are fighting the Elden Beast or Radagon, and that's why we cannot summon Torrent inside the arena, because Torrent was actually with Mikela during this moment. This is just food for thought. Anyways, as stated before, I'll be making a video soon, I promise. So this is it for now. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please share and subscribe. You can also watch my other videos where I discuss the lore of the characters. And thank you. Ciao!